All right, so last Friday we read a speech. What was it called? Beautiful. And who's it by? And we know him from? Beautiful. And Day and Dawn and all the things. So we're going to have a Socratic seminar today, which is why you guys had to write some questions. What is the point of a Socratic seminar? Why do we do it?
To ask questions.
Okay, we discuss, what'd you say? We understand. What are we doing?
We're getting a better understanding against our peers.
Very nice. Getting a better understanding with our peers and understanding other people's perspectives in the group. What else does a Socratic seminar do for us?
Break things down to simpler ways.
It does. And it also, rather than just breaking things down more simply, what else does it do for us? I think the opposite of simple.
It elaborates.
In what way?
Makes us think more about what we're talking about.
It does. Did y'all hear her? Say it louder.
It makes us think more about the things that we are discussing at this moment.
Very good. And so when we did our last seminar, did we just talk about one thing in one text?
No.
We talked about multiple things,
Like?
multiple subjects.
Yeah, we did. We brought in all kinds of things. Very good. So our goal, our objective for a Socratic seminar, first of all, is to create questions that are higher order and challenging and bring in lots of elements of things that we want to discuss. And we also like to analyze why authors make the choices that they do. Isn't that one of your question types? Like asking about literary elements and stuff like that. Rhetorical devices is what they're called when it's with nonfiction. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Another big objective of the Socratic seminar is training you to cite really strong evidence for your views and really strong evidence for what you analyze and stuff like that. So what we're going to start off with today is you're going to look over your speech with a buddy because I realize that it's been a bit since we've looked at it. So you need to have your speech on top. And if you look up here on the wall, we have a little bit of a checklist. You're going to review the speech with the person sitting next to you, with your buddy. So you're going to latch on to a buddy. You're running through it kind of point by point. You guys made quick annotations when we read it together. You identified things that you found were important. You identified words that you might have been unsure of. Do you remember that? Okay. As you look through it again, it'll kind of come back to you. So with your buddy, you're reviewing the speech, running through it real quick. While you're reviewing, add any annotations, any thoughts that pop in your head, maybe stuff that we could talk about, pull into the seminar. And I want you to make sure that you number your paragraphs real quick. That's just a real quick step. Why do you think I want you to number your paragraphs?
Because you're going to access to go back to a certain paragraph to find it.
Will I ask you in the seminar?
No, the students.
Yeah, like it's a lot easier for you to reference specifically what you're talking about if you can say, hey, look at paragraph 3, read it real quick. See what I mean? Okay, so we're going to run through that really quick. I'm going to give you a few minutes just to do the speech portion, just to review over that, and then I'll stop you and we'll go to the next thing that we need to do.
The last sentence after
He wanted to make sure that
quotes. And over again, each time more vigorously, more fervently, until ultimately the bishop regained his powers, having regained his memory. So,
Paragraph 8, he says, and yet realists are only sees us later. Like, they weren't really focused on, like, knowing what was going on when they were trying to survive.
Look at me. It sounds like a lot of y'all are kind of naturally moving into checking your questions, which is fantastic. So at this point, I do want you to go ahead and if you have questions created already, check those with your buddy. You're checking for clarification. If it's worded weird, your buddy can kind of help you fix that wording so that when you ask your question, it becomes very clear. And if you don't have your questions, it kind of looks like through the review you were remembering things that you wanted to ask for our seminar. You have about 3 minutes for your question check. So check your buddy's questions, make sure they're clear, expand them if they're too simple. Like if it only has one right answer, that's not a good seminar type of question. You want it to be open-ended. So take a couple of minutes to take care of that for me, and then we're going to get started.
How do you spray?
Germany was based on catastrophe or
like people that were causing all the,
what he was
yeah.
So like, that question that made me ask, how do we remain faithful towards memory if we want to forget?
Okay. You about ready? You want to be a leader?
Sure.
Okay. Do you remember what your responsibilities were? So as a moderator, you help move the discussion along. You call on people to ask a question if they haven't asked one, or to answer one if they haven't gotten a chance to talk.
Oh, okay.
And you remind the speaker, like you.
So I just mark little tabs. Okay, okay.
That's all. That's
Okay.
okay. Good deal. So maybe this one will give us more ideas for our next one. I think that that'll work. All right. So Melina, whenever you're ready.
All right. Who wants to ask a question? A very good, deep discussion to start off with.
Why do you think that, how do you pronounce his name?
Visa.
Wiesel used the phrase, if dreams reflect the past, hope summons the future when describing the next generation?
Can you please tell us what paragraph that's on?
It was on paragraph. It was on paragraph 4, lines 1 and 2.
I think why he said this, I think he said this because if we don't have hope, then there is no future. Like, to stay alive during the camps and stuff, during those times, you had to have hope because so much stuff, so much pain that they suffered is really harsh. And honestly, if I was in that position, I wouldn't want to live anymore. You have to burn the people that you love. So you have to have hope to keep living. And he had hope, which is what brought him to write books. And those books will notify everybody about what happened so that these things don't happen again. So hope will keep you strong. So anybody else want to add on to that?
Wiesel states in his speech, "There are many times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest." What do you think he means by this? Like, how can we apply it to events today that are happening in the world?
Like if you believe in something,
Stop as soon as it starts.
if you believe in something, you should protest for it. Don't hold back. Like all this stuff that's going on right now.
I think that you should also protest, like when you say compared to a situation now about the whole, Michael Brown thing. People protested to that. So even though we may not be able to do anything about it, it's still good to protest because you're still getting your point across to the government. So, yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
what
but
he
they're
means.
kind of doing it the wrong way because they're not really protesting, they're just looting everything.
I know, but yeah, you also have to protest in the right way. And I know there were beating up police cars, so you don't need to protest that way.
True.
So, you should protest, but just not in a violent way.
It's another language of
Peaceful protest.
Unless it's like a really big thing and
Because not all of them did that, but it was some people that did, but not all of them.
Peaceful protest.
What would Wiesel think about the peaceful protesting that's happening right now, like in Ferguson?
Who would like it?
Like the peaceful portions of it.
Who would like it?
You think so?
portion.
Yeah, because what he's saying is
Like,
don't fail to protest.
Protest.
yeah, like a bunch of teens just standing in the middle of the roadway, that's peaceful protest. But then like everyone's saying police cars on fire and stuff, that's not peaceful.
Very harmful.
Yeah, that was after the verdict, but before there were some peaceful protests.
I think he'll like the peaceful protest because it wouldn't lead to any other violent ways that happened like back then, like if they had like somebody was protesting, then somebody get mad and like they'll start shooting, and then they'll just cause a big old war between like two cities or countries.
Like when Martin Luther King, was giving his speeches and stuff, people, would protest, for equal rights and stuff. But they were peaceful protests. Like they would just sit in, on sidewalks or.
Yeah. And even like whenever they bombed his house and nearly killed his family, he was still just like, no, don't get mad at them, don't get mad at them. We have to be better than them.
Martin Luther King did set a very good standard about protesting because he was all about peace. So yeah.
Well, why don't you think the people in Auschwitz protested? Why didn't they protest?
They were too scared.
They were too
Yeah, fear.
Yeah, they were there.
Fear has a big impact on that.
If they would have fought back, they would have started
People
more
were.
people.
They were scared of Hitler.
So we're coming about with we're coming about with fear and stuff. You want to talk about any themes, universal themes, or any core questions dealing with the topic? Emily, do you have a question that you want to ask?
Yes. Okay. So, what do you think that Wiesel was trying to accomplish with this speech?
To show people to remember things, certain things. Don't forget the past.
Don't forget World War II, because bet you don't want it to happen again.
Yeah. Especially now, because like.
I mean, there was already a second one. I don't think you want a third
because
one.
now everyone has like nuclear weapons and all these weapons of mass destruction and stuff that they can like use to just wipe out each other. So we won't be very much left after that.
So y'all feel like he don't want this to happen again. That's why he wrote the speech in his book.
Yeah, I also think he was spreading awareness because a lot of people were basically ignoring it. So I think when he made the speech, he was actually spreading awareness, like saying, "Hey, this is happening. Like, don't ignore this anymore."
Yeah, he was spreading awareness of
Yeah.
peace, basically.
Yeah.
Is there evidence in the text to support that he cared about spreading messages, that he felt compelled to do so?
He states in paragraph 17 or 18, each one of us felt compelled to record every story, every encounter. Each one of us felt compelled to bear witness. Such were the wishes of the dying. Such were the witness of the dying, the testament of the dead. Since this so-called civilized world had no use for their lives, then let it be inhabited by their deaths.
I feel like we're at a natural stopping point, so we're going to stop there. Find your rubric, put that on top.
Do we need this?
You can hang on to that, actually. So, grab this, put that on top.
On top of this?
Mm-hmm.
Put it on top of what?
On your desk, because you're about to write on it. Slap your name on it. Very quickly, you're going to assess yourself on the rubric. We talked about the rubric at length last time that we were in class, and then we've talked about it before a little bit. So try to gauge where you are. Exemplary is the highest. And so kind of look through the components and see where you are.
So you circle.
You can circle it. And it assesses you in your analysis, your discussion skills, and being a good gator, your civility. So look at those components again really fast. Think of any weaknesses we showed in our seminar today and write those weaknesses down. Those are going to be things that we need to address and add to the rubric for next time. So in that blank space towards the bottom, first thing, give me our weaknesses. What can we fix? What can we make better? I can think of a lot of things we did awesome at this time. My favorite was how you built on other people's ideas. Sometimes it took us a minute to get going in a discussion, but once you got going,
y'all really like built it up into something big.